Hello, folks. I'm David, and this is From the Hip podcast. As always, we're sponsored by the Covenant Studios, and we shoot in the beautiful Say What podcast studio. And I've never met this girl until an hour and 15 minutes ago, but she came in to do a podcast with me, did a photo shoot earlier for the first time at the Covenant Studios. So I want to introduce you to Sissy and let her tell you all about herself.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Sissy, and I'm originally from West Texas, a little town called Abilene. Now, I call it a little town, but some people would say it's the big city because it's over 100,000 people. But I don't think that, especially since I grew up there. So what you could say about me is I'm a mother of 3 kids. I've been modeling, I'd say, 12 years. So I got started accidentally, and I loved it.
How'd you get started?
How did I get started? So I knew a girl in high school that did photography, and she's like, hey, you want to come out and do a photo shoot? And I said, sure, never done one, why not? She told me what to wear. I wore this blue jeans and a crop top, and the shoot lasted 30 minutes. It was outdoors. It was nothing fancy. She posted these pictures online, and it got an enormous amount of attention and traction. Again, I was 19. I've never done this before. And I was thinking, oh, well, that's cool, great, And so then people started inboxing me, other photographers in the area. They're like, oh, do you want to shoot? And they're like, let's do TFP. It's like, what is TFP? Okay, and so they elaborated what that was, and I was like, sure, time for print, that's cool. And so we did that for years. I just did these photo shoots just for prints. And then one day...
Let me ask.
Sure.
Did you actually get prints, or did you get digital copies?
I got both.
Both, okay.
So in the beginning, it was prints, and then, of course, later on, I started getting, email digital copies or, CDs.
Okay.
Back in the day when there was CDs.
Uh-huh.
Now you just get everything USB filed or PDF. But, yeah, it was cool. And one day someone asked, they said, what do you charge? I thought, charge?
What? You get paid for this?
I was about to say, well, I get paid for this? And so off the fly, I started researching on Google, what is a model's hourly rate? And so I just kind of threw out some random number. Didn't even know if he was going to bite on it, but I was like, well, what do I got to lose? And he was like, oh, that sounds great. And so we ended up at his studio, and it was a really nice studio. And I thought, well, this is cool.
Wasn't as nice as the Covenant studio, was it?
Of course not.
Yeah.
But it was just something new and neat. This happened around the time I was 21 after I had my 3rd child.
Third child at 21?
Yes, so I got started a little early. I was married to a guy that I met in high school. We got married when I was 19, and all my kids were with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 19, 20, and 21.
Mm-hmm. So 17 was my first kid. 19 was my second.
Okay.
And then 21 was my third.
Boys or girls?
Boy, girl, boy. So after that, I had kind of known that I was done with my having kids for that time being. And so I really kind of stepped into this modeling thing, which was really neat. I guess what I liked about the industry was you're not thinking when you're doing it. You're just kind of doing it. And you're connecting with a whole bunch of cool people. And then they introduce you to people. So that was really neat for me, especially being so young. So that was nice. And I started charging after that and started marketing myself. And it just kind of spun off for a little bit until I took time off.
Was most of it contained to the Abilene area?
Oh, no.
No.
No, I've done some shoots in Chicago, Florida, California. Because I used to travel for bars. So I had a ex that I dated for a while, and we ran businesses together. And we would travel all over, going to different dive bars and looking at music and stuff. It was really cool.
Now, explain that business to me.
Oh, so he owned a dive bar. I didn't. It was all his. But by proxy, we realized, because at the time I met him, I was in the medical field, and we realized my time would be better spent in his businesses, because he had 2 kids. And so I basically stepped in and helped raise those 2 kids and my 3 kids, and then helped take care of his bar. And in the middle of us dating, we opened up another bar, and then we transferred the license from that bar to another bar. And then we had 2 bars next to each other, and then he opened up a tire shop. And that's just kind of how that happened. And so while we were kind of on and off, but...
Quite the entrepreneur, wasn't he?
He was, yes. He was very good at what he did. He could handle a level of stress that a lot of people I don't think could. But unfortunately, he wasn't so good on the relationship side of things. So we ended up going our separate ways about 2 years ago. And so I kind of spun off about 3 years ago to do my own thing. And that's when I started my cleaning business.
Okay.
So
how'd you go from owning a bar to cleaning?
Okay, this is going to be a less than fabulous story, but it's the truth nonetheless. So when he left, he kind of took all the income from the businesses, and I had bills to pay because he moved out. We lived together, and then he moved out. And so I had 3 children, no income, no skill, nothing. I mean, I couldn't even afford gas, and we were on really bad terms. So there was no trying to be civil about anything. And I applied for 3 jobs at $15 an hour, and they were all kind of within the scope of what I'd done before.
Which was?
Medical field, business office manager, medical assistant, CNA. And I thought, well, do the math, $2,200, $2,400 a month, and then I have 3 kids that have to do aftercare and daycare, and then you have to work within the scope of those hours. And then if you have any personal errands to run Monday through Friday, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. I mean, really think about that. What are you going to do? That sounds like, for lack of better words, hell.
Prison.
Yeah, and I didn't want that for myself. And so I was sitting on my living room couch. My kids were at school. I was 2 months behind on everything. And I thought, what is something I could start with 0 startup cost and no skill level? And I sat there for a good hour or 2, and it just popped in my head. I said, I hate cleaning. Cleaning, you don't need skill for that. And I thought, well, what could I use to clean? And
I hate cleaning.
Oh, I hate it. Hate it.
So you went into a business, that's what you do.
Yeah. So I adapted is what happened. If I'm making money, I'm not going to hate anything.
Okay.
But I knew if something that was distasteful for me, I knew it had to have some kind of market. And in the town I lived in, I never looked that up. So I started researching. I was like, what's the going rate for house cleaners? And, I started calling cleaning companies and finding out what they charge. And when I started, all I had was a bucket of bleach, some Windex, and a towel to mop the floors. And my first start in the business is such a funny story to me, because now I can look back and laugh on it. But I used a 14-day free trial on Canva because I had no money. My bank account was overdrawn. And
14-day free trial of what?
On Canva. So I made a flyer on Canva for 14-day free trial and put in fake debit card numbers to be able to do that. And this flyer is so ghetto, I still have the video to this day. But I posted it on social media after I made this flyer, and it got a hit within 3 to 5 minutes. And I was kind of shocked at the rapid pace. I was like, cool. So there's a contractor in town, and he brought me over to this house, and I started cleaning it, and I didn't know how to bid or do estimates. I had no clue what I was doing. So it was all just a gamble at that point. But what else did I have to lose? I was getting evicted in a week, so I thought I'd try anything.
Nobody that starts a business knows what they're doing.
You don't think?
I got a podcast studio. I had no clue.
Yeah?
I started the photography studios because I like photography. But I had never had a studio before.
What made you want to start a podcast?
A friend of mine asked me to be a guest on his first podcast. He's a photographer. His wife's a photographer. And he had a couple of photographers from out of town coming in to do a podcast with him. Everyone do it at the studio. So he set it up out in the hallway in the conference area, at the conference table. And I had a ball.
Yeah? You had a good time? See, that's cool. That's how you know it's something you want to do.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, see, my story in the beginning, it wasn't like I had a great time doing it. When I went to this contractor's house or this lady's house, they were sawing granite in the middle of me trying to clean this property. So eventually, after about an hour playing Ring Around the Rosie, I was like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'll come back later.
Okay, now, you're telling me about this guy you're dating.
Yes, we've gone out a couple of times. A little more than a couple, but he's interesting.
Okay, interesting.
Interesting.
There's a book called For Men Only and one called For Women Only. By Shantae Feldhahn. Read them.
For women only and for men only?
Uh-huh.
What are they?
They're separate books. They'll enlighten you on, you may think you know men, not until you read that book.
I love a good read, so I think I'll pick it up.
It's an easy read, and honestly, I would not date anybody unless they read that book.
Really? That good?
That good.
I think I might go to a bookstore after here.
Yeah, it's,
She's over her notes. You know, it's funny because this particular person didn't really, it kind of came out of left field. And so it's been good.
do you have things in common?
We have everything in common. It's to a scary point. And I just keep finding out more things. And I'm like, no, really, no way, me too. Like, almost where there feels like there's a camera behind me and he's like secretly watching. So
You get to the hard questions quick. And then if he passes that test, then date him seriously.
you know, so far I have.
If he's interested enough, if he's not going to discuss the hard questions with you, quit wasting your time.
He's been very open and willing to have conversations with me. I've been more, I pay attention to his behavior. Like I probably shouldn't say this because this is going to end up on the internet, but I'll purposely do or say certain things to see how he'll react. And not because I'm trying to play games or toy with him. I just want to see what kind of person he is so I can avoid going down the roads I've already been down. And one of the biggest things, ironically, was modeling. It was something really important to me because I plan on taking this a lot farther than I have. And me and her both agreed, like, I would have already been farther if I had not put all my wants and desires on hold for these men in my past. I've put so much, I helped them build their businesses and their lives and their children while everything of mine got put on the back burner.
You dedicated yourself to them and not yourself.
And it's because don't you want that in your life? Don't you want someone supportive and kind? It's like your little cheerleader and says, yes, get excited like you, you know?
Yeah.
You do want somebody like that in your life. But it's a two-way street.
Oh, I'm in the mindset now where I will not sacrifice. I will not drop the things I want to do for someone else. I just won't.
Yeah.
It means too much to me.
But they need to know what the things are.
Well, see, and this particular person, we have actually had quite a few conversations, and he's something else. He is something else.
Have you done a shoot? Have you done a shoot with him coming to you,
At the shoot?
to the shoot? Yeah.
No, I've never had I'd never even asked him. I wouldn't even, I just, maybe we're not serious enough for all that, because we've only been seeing each other for a couple of months.
Get out of the way now.
You think?
You're just postponing.
The inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ask him, say, I'm doing a shoot. I'd like for you to come with me and see what goes on.
That would be interesting. I could. It's
Well,
funny. I'm imagining him at a shoot. I could see him being so fun. He is one of the funnest people I've ever been with.
As long as he's good with, and most photographers will agree with me, you're there for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to entertain him or him to entertain you. It's for him to gain knowledge on what happens in a shoot.
Right.
And people that have never been to a shoot before, females also, they have no clue just what they imagine goes on. I dated a girl that, when she found out I was a photographer, she thought I was just doing that to meet women and have fun and take dirty pictures.
I know. It's unbelievable.
But in the conversation, she mentioned that she had always thought about modeling.
Really?
I said, Kathy, let me shoot you. Let me show you what it's like. But be prepared. You're going to be sore the next day. No, I ride a bike everywhere I go. I work out.
Okay.
So we did a shoot together. And I explained to her that to get good images, you don't have time to be trying to flirt and date with a model. And we were halfway through the shoot, and she said, I see what you mean.
She's tired, huh?
I said, what are you talking about? She said, you're so busy changing lights and posing me and
There's a
everything
lot
else
going on, yeah.
that you don't have time to be messing around. And then the next day she said, well, you're right. I am sore.
Exactly, yep. Well, and then there's a lot of things that you have to do outside of it on the modeling end. You have to eat well, you have to exercise, you have to network, you have to build your platform, your comp card, you have to talk to people.
Well, except for the comp card. You should be doing that anyway, no matter what business you're in. And being a social butterfly, you're doing it anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. It comes naturally to me because I guess as a kid I wasn't very socially adept. And so I wanted to go so far off the spectrum, like the spectrum broke as far as socialization goes. And also I've always learned that the more people I know, the more doors I open.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily to modeling. It could be to other things in my life.
I've been a networker for a long time. And when I meet somebody, I want to know more about you. What do you do? As an example. Because at some point in my life, I may run across somebody that is looking for someone with your skills. And I've referred a lot of people to other people when they're looking for a CEO. I know a guy that's a great CEO.
That's cool.
I know a great accountant. I know some people.
I know a great insurance lady. I knew she'd look up. But
and I know people on the other spectrum of the world that somebody may need their services. But it's not what we can talk about on Facebook or anything. So, but it's nice to know people and what they do. But I've got an inquisitive mind.
I do too. In fact, sometimes it upsets people that I ask so many questions, because maybe some people are more private and I can come off as intrusive, and I don't mean to be that way. I know something that most people know about human psychology is people love to talk about themselves. Mm-hmm. And people are never going to remember your name, your face, what you were wearing, or what you do for a living. They'll always remember the way you made them feel. That's how you stay top of mind of somebody. Because I used to be a realtor, and that was the number one thing that they would teach is you always have to stay top of mind in order to get that sale. Or sell.
I got to tell you a realtor story.
Sure.
I had a broker's license for 20 years.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. I bought my first house at 19 and flipped it.
Hey, that's pretty impressive.
That's a pretty long time ago. I went to a seminar. Mm-hmm. The guy's name was Tom Hopkins.
Okay.
And at the time, he had sold over 400 or 500 houses that year. That's a lot of property. And he talked about he did a lot of open houses. And it was in Arizona.
That's cool.
And there was something he always did at his open houses. He got an ice cream truck because of the refrigeration. Mm-hmm. And had a bunch of gallons of ice cream. And when you came to his open house, he gave you a gallon of ice cream as a thank you for coming.
Really?
Now, what are they going to do in Arizona when they were just given a gallon of ice cream?
They're going to eat it.
Where are they going? They're going home.
Yeah. They're going to go
They're
home.
not going to go see any other houses.
Oh,
He took them off the market.
That's smart. Oh, that's chess. That man was playing chess.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
That's cool. And then he's on top there. He's at the top of their mind because they went straight home. Hey, I'm going to use that one out of my playbook.
Yeah, there you go.
That's cool.
So that's my real estate story.
Hey, I like that. You know, I didn't really make anything out of real estate a whole lot because that was during the time that I was running the bars. And again, I had a less than supportive partner at the time. He always thought that I was in the industry to screw dudes. That had been a revolving door in my life, which is so weird because I've never cheated on anyone in my life. Never even come close. Not even so much as
Thought about it?
Thought about it. I'm an ungodly, monogamous person. I hold monogamous relationships to really high esteem. And maybe that's why I'm so picky and I've been single for so long.
Well,
because I take it seriously.
My current wife, her husband, she was the eye candy. Mm-hmm. But he didn't want anybody looking at her.
Yeah.
Or her looking. They were allowed to look at her. She wasn't allowed to look back.
That sounds like a really difficult way to live. I mean, I guess you wouldn't want her flirting or anything, but that's just controlling.
He was extremely controlling.
I can relate to your wife.
And when he punished her and the kids,
excuse me.
Bless you. And one of the things he'd had them do as punishment for whatever, he would give them books to hold at arm's length.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
No. My ex would punish me, but it was in really passive ways. So, and I have evidence for days for this, but it doesn't even matter at this point because we're split and have been split for a while. But so if we would get into a debacle or an argument, he would take things from me. He would take keys, cars, debit cards, whatever he could to try to batten down the hatches and make sure I didn't go anywhere or do anything.
Right.
Or he would try to punish me by staying out all night long and ignoring my calls and just, it was a really toxic situation.
Well, hers was too, but he was abusive physically.
Well, that was my first relation. I had to put a protective order against him.
Your picker is broken.
I know. I've been down Candyland Lane a couple times or two. Granted, my first marriage, I've only been married once, but my first relationship, he was the first person I'd ever been with, ever, in my life. Like, first boy I'd ever even so much as hardly kissed. I met him freshman year in high school. And, I thought this guy walked on clouds. He was just everything to me. And I had all 3 of my kids with him and married him. And I couldn't see it, but my family and friends could see it. He was very, very, very abusive and controlling.
I've got an idea for you.
I'm open to it.
Why don't you just send these applications to your sister and let her...
Hold on. She met a person that I'm talking to, and she's like, for now, I give him the green light, to be fair. So he might have won over some stars on that one. We'll see.
Well, he should have.
He's different than my exes, so that gives him bonus
Well,
points
hopefully
already.
he's different than his exes. He needs to be.
I know, right?
But...
No, I mean, really, I don't... To be honest, in my last relationship, I probably held a lot to the contributing factor of that relationship being toxic. I plead the fifth on the first one. I had nothing to do with that crap. But the second one, I could have done better. I could have done better as a woman, a person, a mother. Just everything
we
around.
ought to be better.
Yeah, I agree.
Sissy, it's been a joy chatting with you.
It's been lovely.
We'll have to do this one again.
Oh, definitely.
Well, tell people how to get hold of you.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So I have a Facebook, an Instagram, and an email, but I don't check my emails. I don't really get on Instagram. My following is basically on Facebook. That's how I do everything. You just look up Sissy Hanley, Abilene, Texas, and I promise I'm the only one that pops up. I'm right against a Corvette in my current profile picture. So,
well, spell the names for them.
Sissy, Hanley, Hanley.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
you can
me.
Spell, folks, anyway.
I know. Adult skills.
Adult skills. All right, folks. We appreciate you being here. And come back next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.